morning, everybody. I'm your girl, Brat Tat Tat, and this is the Hot Spot where we bring you music, movies, and more. So let's get off into it. Well, y'all, many fans of Rosanda Thomas, a.k.a. Chilli from TLC, were in an uproar after they noticed that she reshared a video claiming that Michelle Obama was not born female and that the former First Lady was once registered to vote as a man in the state of Illinois. It was also noted that Chilli was a MAGA supporter, and well over the weekend, Chilli uploaded a video statement explaining that now deleted video was reshared to her page by accident. And here's a little bit of that statement, y'all. Well, has anybody seen the stuff that Chilli that's been going on with Chilli?
Oh, man. It was all over the internet yesterday.
It's been all over the internet. If you scroll, that's all you see. I mean, people posting about it. Funky Dineva, listen, you heard what he said. He said something about it. He was just saying that don't try to fix it now because you got this tour coming up and you losing fans. And oh man,
and then they showed all the donations that she had made to
donations
to
or something to like.
Shut up! So it's real.
And she's following all these people that are on the MAGA team, and I don't know, child.
I was trying to give her the benefit of the doubt. Then I started looking at how do you retweet something. There's a few steps into retweeting.
Yeah,
and but she said she pushed a button that was next to a button that she should have.
Okay, but even if
it's a
she
few
did,
things.
Yeah,
it's like a few things. It's not just that one mistake that happened. People are saying, it's like she's following all of these people.
Yeah, that part.
And she made these donations.
That.
And you pushed the wrong button. But what about all the other stuff?
Exactly.
Well, my thing is just say you're conservative and stand on it.
Right.
If that's what you are, you can have it. You have the right to be conservative. If that's what you are.
Well, I think being conservative isn't the problem as much as being a Trump supporter. Those are kind of two different things. You know, conservative is just being a Republican. I can respect that. I can't respect somebody who is a Trump supporter.
Yeah, but I just announced a tour for TLC, In Vogue, and Salt and Pepper.
Now that's messing up their money. With all this stuff coming out.
Yeah, this is kind of
I think people still going to go see them, but they just probably going to have a hard time when she come on stage.
Oh, Lord. I hate that.
I hate that, too.
What's the other one? TLC and what's the
TLC
other? T-Boss might need her money. Hell, she don't need to be messed up.
I mean, they still going to go on the tour.
Yeah, but it's not going to be right. People going to boo her. But then maybe she's following her man here. If she's with Joey Lawrence, she's probably following her man. So let her be with her man.
He's kind of hardcore right-wing, isn't he?
Is he?
I'm just asking. I know one of them boys who's on that show is like hardcore.
Goodness.
Well, her statement says, I want to be clear. I am not a MAGA and do not support any of the many policies that are causing great harm to the American people. I made a mistake too many make. I did not read the fine print. I thought I was supporting causes against human trafficking and for veterans, two things I care deeply about, as my dad is a veteran and everyone knows I love children. I've learned a valuable lesson and ask for grace as I navigate this. Love, Chilli.
Wow.
So,
well, we just give her grace, give her the benefit of the doubt, whatever. But the internet is not playing. It's bad.
Yeah. You know what? We're going to wrap up the hotspot on that note. But for more information on these stories and more, you can go to RickeySmileyMorningShow.com, and you can catch me on all my social media. So Brat. Coming up next, we got Rock T with the joke of the day. Oh, Lord. The time now is 26 minutes before the top of the hour. It's the Rickey Smiley Morning Show.
Did you see that post?
People are talking.
Here's what's trending on the Rickey Smiley Morning Show.
All right, y'all, 22 minutes after the hour, y'all. Listen, over the weekend, a conversation started heating up after Federal Election Commission records revealed that Chilli from TLC donated money to Republican fundraisers linked to Trump in 2024 re-election, and how fans on social media are split.
Chilli says she thought she was donating funds that would benefit military veterans and help end human trafficking. She says she did not read the fine print, but some people are saying artists should have the right to support whoever they want to support politically. Others are saying that when you're a public figure, those choices come with consequences, especially when fans feel strongly about certain issues.
Yeah, Brad, and artists like Nicki Minaj, Kanye West, Lil Wayne, Teddy Riley, and so many others have all reportedly shown support for Donald Trump. And it sparked an even bigger question this morning. Because entertainment is universal, but what about your morals? What about your politics? When artists get political, is it fair game for fans to pull their support, or is that just doing the most? Because we've seen this happen before. When celebrities speak out or donate politically, some fans double down in support, while others say they cannot separate the music from the message.
So we want to hear from you this morning. If your favorite artist support a politician you don't agree with, are you still listening to their music? Or are you done? Hit us up at 866-9-RICKEY, 866-9-RICKEY. Now, my whole thing is if I'm an artist, which I am, and a performer, if my fans cannot afford to come out and support me because of crazy politics or whatever, I'm just going to always be on the side of the majority of the people to make sure that everybody have money. Now, voting Democrat or whatever, I would have to, technically pay more taxes, but I'd rather pay more taxes than to make sure that somebody else have health care and somebody else the seniors can have Meals on Wheels in order to, you know what I'm saying? I'm just not thinking about myself. So, I don't, and especially with MAGA, because that's different from being a Republican. That's just straight up Ku Klux Klan racism. And if you support MAGA, because MAGA is the Republican Party right now, that's just my opinion. What are your thoughts?
Well, like you just said, you're not a one-issue voter. So you're not just voting fiscally. You're voting, for people that, not just people, probably not fans that come to your shows, but even your family members. You know what I mean? Everybody can't afford insurance. Everybody, I think as black people, we have empathy because we all know somebody who is living paycheck to paycheck. Hey, most of us are living paycheck to paycheck. Yeah. And usually democratic issues, those usually support people, government funding. But what's crazy is Republicans now, they're spending so much money with the government. So, what are we doing? We just get, a political welfare. It's too much.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm real hard line when it comes to this whole MAGA Trump thing, because it's so devastating to just the fabric of our community. That whole mindset and that whole political philosophy and all the things that are realistically being done right now to hurt people that I know. And, in my family, I cannot support anybody that supports that. Anybody that supports that, I can't go along with you.
Yeah, it's like you supporting the Klan. You know what I'm saying? When he has the ICE agents, which most of those guys are people from January 6th, and the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers, you got them in the streets, untrained, attacking people in Democrat states or whatever. These are things that people like Dr. King Medgar Evers died for. A lot of people paid the ultimate price just so we could have freedom. And then it's like the Constitution is totally being ignored. And it's like, are you watching that? Have you ever sat down and watched Joy Reid's podcast and see what Joy Reid had to say and Jasmine Crockett or whatever? We got people out there giving us the information that we have. So there's no excuse not to know unless you just ignoring this stuff intentionally or whatever. But the information is there.
And as you have said a lot of times, people in a certain tax bracket try to use that as an excuse to say, well, I'm only supporting because of this. But like you said, a lot of times, all money ain't good money. And I'm not saying that I'm giving away nobody else's money. But what I'm saying is some things, principle has to override the bottom line. You know what I mean? Yeah. You can't just support everything and say, oh, well, I'm looking at it from a business standpoint. I get that. But at some point, you got to have some principles.
That's because your fans ain't going to be able to afford to be able to come see you perform. Right. You know what I'm saying? When they have to pay more for health care, or they can't afford health care, or they got to choose between their medication and groceries and all that kind of stuff, and then you wonder why your ticket sales are low. It's just, but it's all about doing the right thing. It's all about standing on principle. Go ahead.
Right. I feel like the artists that do support, they're doing it for some type of reason, and I do believe they do know the backlash that they're gonna get, but they do it anyway for whatever reason is good for them or for their family. But you can't help but think about that when you listening to music. You think about them not being supportive of you and what you believe in and what you stand for. So, do you stop listening to their music? You try not to stop, probably, if you love the music for so many years, but then you can't help but think about them being on the other side.
Right. Yeah, and Funky Dineva said it best. I was watching his video. He said, okay, we get all of that, but don't play in our face and act like, when you retweeted that, it's a couple of steps to retweet something. And then what you do, you have people going back looking at your record, and then they start pulling up receipts where you have sent money to MAGA and whatever, and I'm older than Chile, and I ain't never sent MAGA a dime, never. You know what I'm saying? If I don't watch Fox News, I don't watch Newsmax, or any of that stuff. I watch Joy Reid's podcast, and I follow Jasmine Crockett, I follow Ben Crump or whatever, and I follow Pastor Freddie Haynes or whatever. Anybody that's talking out of Dr. King's theology and Dr. King like. That's just the way I was raised, and I can see, and conservatives have a right to be conservative, and just like George W. Bush said, he said, okay, being conservative is one thing, but he said, being conservative can be without the racism and the things that Donald Trump has done. He has emboldened a lot of people out here. That's why you're seeing all these people out here getting their ass whooped, because they feel comfortable walking in the gas station, in the grocery store, calling people out of their name and using the N-word to harass or insult people, thinking that Trump gonna get them out of jail, and just the environment that's created, and that's why we have to get out and vote. Go ahead.
But then my thing is this though. But do we really know that was her track record with her supporting all these Republicans or whatever they said she supported?
Because she said she didn't know. She thought she was supporting the troops.
With all those things all those people, all that list of things she was supporting the truth, she thought that. Because with AI coming, I know people could easily duplicate stuff like that, number one. And number two, my thing is, what made them target her? All of a sudden, they just targeted her. How did that come out?
Well, she had a tweet when they had, she retweeted a picture of Barack Obama and had Michelle Obama as a man or looking like a man or whatever that was. And it was retweeted on her account. And when she got on there and explained it or whatever, that let the people know that she had some control over it. She said that she didn't know what button she hit. You have to hit something 2 or 3 times in order to retweet something. And then when people went back and looked at her donations towards conservative and anything that support the Trump administration, they saw money that she sent. It was just a few dollars, but you know what I'm saying?
But my thing is still this, though. I mean, and everybody attacking her because of that and stuff. And like you just said about celebrities and stuff going to jail. Look at all these celebrities that went to jail. They want Trump to get them out of jail. Do they support Trump?
Well, I'm sure they do now.
Okay, well, then, we don't. Well, we need to stop following them, too, then, and not talking.
I'm sure people have.
That's what I'm saying. So many people do support, and they probably do it for whatever personal reasons they need it for, and how do you judge somebody if that's what they feel like they should do? Even though we feel like it's wrong, because what is they doing? We thinking, but they probably feel like for them or their family, they doing it for a reason, I guess.
But the best way to show somebody how you feel about them, it's just like we did with Target. I hate to say it because I love Chile. And I know, I'm sure my friends are like, I'm still going. I'm like, because in Vogue, this is such a great concert. So, how do you show that you are against what they are for if you don't financially say, you know what, I can't go to the concert?
Because it was a lot of black celebrities that supported George Bush, and it wasn't a whole lot of backlash, but this different.
Yes.
This Donald Trump stuff is different. This is different from Herbert Walker Bush and Ronald Reagan and George W. Bush and Dwight Eisenhower. This is different. This is different. This is the Grand Dragon. This is white supremacy, the Grand Dragon of the Ku Klux Klan, sitting in the White House, him and Steve Miller, and the things that they are doing in this war and all of this stuff that's going on and how it's having a negative effect on people and how black people are under attack. Like we are under attack, man, almost to the point where A lot of people, I know for a fact, a lot of people are moving to Thailand and leaving the United States to get a dual citizenship to go somewhere else because they don't feel comfortable living in the United States. And if ICE can put on a mask, a poo shiesty mask, and go out and just kidnap people without a warrant and without all of this stuff, and just ask random people, hey, I need to see your ID. Are you American or not? Whatever, they can pull you over. So if they can do it to them, you don't think they can do it to us? And that's crazy. And I feel bad for the Latino community, but it's a side of me that don't feel bad because hell, y'all sat up there and supported Trump or whatever, and some of the same people that supported him end up getting deported. But if they can do that to them, why can't they start targeting black people? Because they said that some of us look like Haitians. Some of us look like Jamaicans and people that's from the Bahamas, so they can pull you over and say, hey, we think that you might be Haitian or whatever. Let us see your ID. And if you don't have your ID on you, or if they don't believe you, they can take you into custody. And if they can do it, then that's different. That's different from anything that happened during the Bush administration and during the Reagan administration and the Herbert Walker Bush administration, man. You know, our civil liberties and civil rights are under attack. You know what I'm saying? They own 3 branches of government. They run in the White House, they run in the Congress, they run in the Senate, and they got the United States Supreme Court, and they are trying to find ways to mess up this midterm election, because if Hakeem Jeffries becomes Speaker of the House, it's going to be a lot of investigations, and they control the purse. So they're scared right now. And they're going to do everything they can. That's why they're coming up with all these voter ID laws and all of this kind of stuff to make it difficult, and having ICE agents to show up at the polls to make it difficult for people to vote. And when you stand behind something like that, and you stand behind stuff like that or whatever, people are just going to automatically hate you, because people like myself that sit up and watch the news and listen to Joy Reid's podcast and have a clear understanding of how government works and what's going on in government, then it's a problem. All right, hit us up with your thoughts. 8669-RICKEY, 8669-RICKEY, Rickey Smiley Morning Show. I'm Rickey Smiley Morning Show. So the conversation is still heating up this morning after reports revealed that Chilli from TLC made a political donation connected to President Trump in the 2024 campaign, and fans are split debating whether an artist's personal beliefs should impact the way they support them. Now, some fans are saying, look, artists are human beings with their own opinions and political views just like anyone else. Supporting a candidate does not necessarily change the music they have already created.
Yeah, Ricky, but others think differently. They say when you support an artist, you are also supporting their platform. And if those views don't align with yours, then it's okay to just step back.
I mean, my thing is, if you go in a restaurant and somebody call you the N-word or show racism towards you, you always say you're not going back to that restaurant anymore. You know what I'm saying? So what's the difference? I'm just asking. So now the bigger question becomes, can you separate the artist from the art? Are you hitting the unfollow button? Beyonce, you have those donations?
Yeah, So according to Yahoo News, she made 17 donations between April 2024 and November 2024 with a total of 900. So it averages around $50 per donation. We don't know if those are the actual numbers, but that's what Yahoo is reporting.
And all of those donations was towards the Trump administration.
Yeah. So Ted Cruz.
Ted Cruz.
What people don't realize is that with any kind of political politician, anything that you donate is open records. And so people went and pulled the records because the FCC holds those.
Girl, how dare you support Ted Cruz? What are we doing?
Well, my thing is, if she has an argument, as to why she support MAGA, then have the argument and have the conversation, because we have to respect how she feel, or whatever, even though you don't agree with it. That's the whole purpose of having a conversation and having the, whatever amendment it is, freedom of speech and freedom to support who you want to support. However, if you support them, maybe you should be performing for them.
Thank you.
At the MAGA events and the Trump, what do you call it? Inauguration parties and whatever, man. But I just don't understand
what you support. I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. What you support and who you support speaks to your character, and it speaks to your integrity,
your morals,
and it speaks to your morals. And if you support people or a movement that is hostile toward everybody that looks like you and everybody in your community,
hostile towards the majority of your fans. Go ahead.
Right. How can you justify that? That goes beyond just freedom of supporting whoever. You got freedom, but like you said, you got to have morals and integrity. You got to have some integrity at some point.
You know, Kay, I was raised in a small church in Alabama, and my pastor, the man that baptized me, was actually friends with Dr. King. I remember being in the pastor study and seeing Reverend Gardner with Dr. King. And back then, when you joined the church, you had to join the NAACP and the SCLC, you know, back then. And this man preached every Sunday, but it was from the same theology from Dr. King. And then when I moved to Dallas, Texas, I needed to find a pastor. I'm not looking for prosperity preaching. I'm looking for how I can get to heaven and somebody that could help me have a close relationship with God, but also recognizing the world that we live in, because no matter prosperity ain't gonna do nothing for your experience when you go out here dealing with racism and racist. You know what I'm saying? And I just hold on, y'all. We got Roland Martin on the phone. Hey, Roland, good morning.
Yep. Good morning, Ricky.
Hey, Roland, thank you for jumping on at the last minute. Listen, we're talking about Chilli and her donation. And what's the question again, Alfred?
Well, it's like, you know, can you still support the art without supporting the artist who supports a candidate, you know, or a movement that you're not with?
Hold that thought, Roland. I want you to answer that on the other side. More Rickey Smiley Morning Show coming up. All right, y'all, Rickey Smiley Morning Show. Hey, we got the one and only Roland Martin on with us this morning, man. Thank you so much for jumping on with us at the last minute. Alfredo, you had asked the question.
Yeah, you know, we're talking about Chilli and us finding out that she actually is conservative in her views, or maybe even a MAGA supporter. Is this the new council culture, and is it actually holding people accountable, or are we just really quick to cut people off now?
Well, first of all, it's not new. I mean, I remember during Trump's first term, I remember I was I was reading some stuff, and Phil Perry, big time MAGA, and he blocked me because I was disagreeing with some stuff that he said. Same thing with golfer John Daly. Look, you are the consumer. You have the right to not support someone if you don't want to. And that's why there are a lot of artists who keep their politics personal. That's their choice. But you have the right as well. So you're not obligated to support anyone. Now, if you say, hey, you know what, I like your music or I like your art, so therefore I'm going to keep backing you, so be it. But we live in a time where we have to understand that Donald Trump and MAGA, decisions that they make have consequences, have life and death consequences, impact the lives of people. And so individuals have to understand that. And so guess what? That is the cross that you have to bear if those things become public.
Wow. Roland, how do you feel, just to skip around a little bit, about what's going on with this administration with the Iran war and everything that's going on, and his low approval rating, the lowest that I have ever seen since I've been following politics? What are your thoughts? Is there a shift or a movement in the country? Are we looking good for midterms? Will the midterm election be messed with?
Look, I think it's abundantly clear what you're seeing, that people do not like the direction this country is going and the decisions are being made. There's buyer's remorse from a lot of people. But for a lot of black folks, we saying hashtag, we tried to tell you. In terms of what we said was going to happen, predicted. I mean, you've got white farmers who are crying left and right because of the tariffs. They're saying, "Oh my God, I can't move forward." Dairy farmers and others are like, "Well, you know, I need workers," and y'all are attacking, you know, undocumented workers. It's like, well, he told you he was going to do that, but y'all kept voting for him. And so these things are happening. Politics. Listen, there are consequences to politics, good and bad. And so folks are dealing with that. And so what we have to recognize is that the best say that any person has is when they go to the ballot box. And so when you check out elections, then you're going to suffer the consequences. For all those people, there was some artist the other day who was, went on some show. He was trashing, commenting like, well, I did my research, but I'm kind of like some dude sway or something dumb dude. But guess what? We try to tell them as well. So when people sit here and say these things, like I was watching some Stephen A. was dating some dude, Anton or something, and he was like, well, Trump did this and did that for HBCUs. Lie. And my whole deal is facts are facts. So I'm not going to debate your opinion. I'm not going to debate your emotions or your feeling. I'm going to debate what the reality is. And the reality is what Donald Trump is doing right now when it comes to Iran, there are going to be consequences. And it's not like other presidents never considered that, but they also considered that there are dominoes that fall when you make the decision that you make. And we are going to have to deal with this. And so we will solve it in Iraq. We'll solve it in Afghanistan. We've seen this with so many issues when before our foreign policy, when we overthrew countries and we took out leaders, whether it was Patrice Lumumba, whether it was Mossadegh in Iran in 1953, and on and on and on. And so this is the impact of when you're the commander-in-chief and you make decisions like this here. They have far-reaching consequences that don't last days or months or election cycles. They literally can last generations or multiple generations.
Yeah. I don't know if we have time for this question, but, Trump is saying we're not putting boots on the ground. We don't have to put boots on the ground. We already have 50,000 people there now. Is it possible that we are going to put boots on the ground?
I think he is. You don't move thousands of personnel. Iran is not backing down. What do they have left to do? I mean, you've already made it clear that you'll take over somebody's country. And again, look at American foreign policy in our history. We said the same thing in Vietnam. What did we do? We sent in advisors. The next thing you know, we had 50,000 who died in that country. And so we've seen this movie before. This is the sequel. And so what we have to recognize is that, guess what? Other countries are not just going to let us just come in and take over. He thinks that he can do to Iran what he did to Venezuela. No, totally different country, totally different leadership, and we're going to suffer the consequences, and it will be American blood spill for exactly what?
Yeah. All right, Roland, let everybody know, man, thank you, man. We appreciate you always jumping on with us. Let everybody know how you can be reached.
Folks, Roland Martin Unfiltered, live every night, 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern. Go to our YouTube channel, our Black Star Network app. Of course, watch our other 5 shows on the network as well. So we bring the truth, the black-centered truth, every single day.
There it is, y'all. Roland Martin, man. Love you, man. We appreciate you. Mix up, stay in your head.